Hello, I'm Dave, and this is the California Pop Blogcast. Today, I'm going to be reviewing some racing games. First off, and these games only reviewing, just like California Pop always does, is the 3D aspect of the game. Now, let me first off review one of my favorites, and that is the MotorStorm franchise. MotorStorm has been, in my opinion, a fantastic franchise when it comes to racing and it comes to thrills and action. It is a great franchise if you're into that type of racing where you're dodging and you're almost a fight for survival. Great game. My first one is MotorStorm Pacific Rift 3D. Now, here's a strange thing on this. You cannot buy MotorStorm Pacific Rift 3D in a store. This is a 2D game, the only one you can get as far as how to play. It's still a fabulous game. Only on PlayStation Network can you get Pacific Rift 3D. And the funny thing that they did on Pacific Rift 3D, which I do not understand, is that they took a small portion of Pacific Rift and made it 3D. They did not take the entire game. They shrunk it out of like 20 different chapters, and they only gave you 10 chapters. And none of the other stuff, none of the multiplayer or the free runs or any of the other stuff, they just gave you 10 tracks and that's it. It was a small little portion. It was almost like a tease. Here you go, oh, that's it. And they might have done that just to get people ready for the MotorStorm Apocalypse. But I really wish they would have actually done the entire game of Pacific Rift 3D. That game is fantastic. And when you see the first one, the Pacific Rift 3D, when you see that in 3D, it'll blow your mind. I give the MotorStorm Pacific Rift 3D a 10 out of 10. It is unbelievable. You sit there and you have the mud flying in your face. You can feel it slapping you in your face and the water splashing around you. You see the guys flying over you as they're crashing over, being separated from their bikes. You see the cars jumping over you. When you're jumping caverns and gullies, you feel the depth. I mean, it is all there. It is fantastic. Again, on the 3D aspect, they really did a good job. It is soft and comfortable on your eyes. It is great. I was blown away. And funny how MotorStorm Apocalypse, obviously made by the same people, the same franchise, in my opinion, the 3D was not as good. I will give MotorStorm Apocalypse a 9 out of 10. And the reason why that is, you know what, it could be because it's actually set in the city instead of being set in, you know, the jungle with mud and water. Instead of mud and water and so forth, you have pieces of paper and little things of gravel and so forth. Now, I gotta say that I do believe that Apocalypse is just not as wow as Pacific Rift. And that's why it's so disappointing that they didn't make Pacific Rift into a full 3D game. For that franchise, I hope they bring back some more. I hope they would be fantastic if they did bring Pacific Rift, the entire game, into 3D. And if they don't, I hope they make another game, MotorStorm, that goes back to the jungle or goes back to another type of that type of environment, and the entire game is 3D. Don't just give us a portion of it. As far as MotorStorm is concerned, again, if you like racing games, you have your 3D TV, and you have not played these games, go out and buy Apocalypse. It is a great game for 3D. Now, you want a fantastic 3D, go out to PlayStation Network and buy the Pacific Rift 3D for $9.99. You can buy it, have it downloaded to your hard drive, and you will not be disappointed. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. Again, on those two, Pacific Rift 3D, I give it a 10 out of 10. Now, honestly, for disappointment value, because they only gave me a small portion, I would bring that to a 7 out of 10. But because we're not talking about portions, we're talking about 3D aspect, on the 3D, a 10 out of 10. Pacific Rift Apocalypse, I give that a 9 out of 10. It wasn't a wow, but it was compelling. So, my last one I'm going to give you, and that is Gran Turismo 5. Now, Gran Turismo 5, as far as the entire gameplay, is a really good game. I mean, it is immense. I mean, it's almost so confusing because they give you so much on your plate. Talk about going to a restaurant and you order, chili cheese fries. Some places give you a small little helping. Some places give you this huge helping that can feed 2 or 3 people. That's what Gran Turismo is. It gives you a helping that can feed 2 or 3 people. You'll be playing this for hours because there's so much stuff to do. But anyways, that has nothing to do with the 3D. As far as the 3D is concerned, I give Gran Turismo 3D a 10 out of 10. It is amazing. Again, all 3 games are soft on the eyes. They don't cause you eye strain. They are a beautiful 3D. This game, you can see the curves coming around. In fact, when I play it in 2D, I have to have the cheat line that turns red when you have to slow down, because if not, I can't judge it. When I put on the 3D, I can judge when the corners are coming. I can judge the turns. It makes you feel like you are really behind the wheel. It is phenomenal. It is beautiful, especially when the rain hits the windshield or when the windshield wipers are going back and forth. You are in the driver's seat. It is a fantastic 3D effect that they have done, and they really took their time in bringing that to you because there's so many aspects of the game. It's a phenomenal way to look at it, to play that game. If you're going to play it again, if you want a more arcadey, you go with MotorStorm. But if you want your tried and true true simulator, you go to Gran Turismo, and you will not be disappointed in the 3D aspect. Phenomenal game, phenomenal. With that, those are my reviews. You have 3D Pacific Rift, 10 out of 10. I wish it was longer. You have MotorStorm Apocalypse, 9 out of 10. And you have Gran Turismo 5, a 10 out of 10. Those are my reviews on driving games. I'm going to add one more, in fact. The last one I'm going to throw in there, and that is going to be the Ridge Racer 7, which they added 3D to it. You can only get the Ridge Racer 7 3D on PlayStation Network. And I will say that the 3D aspect of Ridge Racer, again, is phenomenal. It is fantastic. When the cars are sitting there, you feel the leaves fall into your face, and there's so many of those type of effects. The only bad thing is the game sucks. It's a shitty game. I guess, it's so much about arcade. There's not one true-to-life physics in the game. It's a shitty game. It's unplayable, in my opinion. But the 3D is a fantastic. Since we're not reviewing games on their gameplay, we're reviewing games on the 3D, I'm going to have to give Ridge Racer 7 3D a 10 out of 10. But here's the problem on that. It's not worth buying. Do not go to PlayStation Network, spend $19.99, because the gameplay is not worth just that visual awe. There's no reason to play it when you can't even get 1 or 2 races into it, because there's no hell of a way you can win it. I don't know. Yeah, I just can't play it. It's unplayable. The 3D is beautiful, but it's so not worth purchasing because of the gameplay. With that said, that's my review on driving. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Again, it's been a pleasure. This is the California Pop Blogcast. Those are my reviews, and I will see you next time. And remember, support our troops.